All right. Good evening, everyone. Looks like we are good on both platforms. Tonight we're going to be doing glass. And let me, for Facebook people, Facebook viewers, I'm going to post in a link to the blog, which will give you the packet you can download and the pattern and basic instructions. So be sure and check those out if you haven't already. I did post that a couple of days ago. All right. I'm going to put my keyboard away. I think we are live on both platforms. Yay. Had a little bit of problem there at the beginning, but good evening. All right. I'm going to give it a couple minutes and let some people join. So when you get on, be sure and tell me hello and where you're from. Okay. And then we will get started. So tonight we're going to do a little holly dish that is fused glass. And then on the next live, I will do ceramics. I go back and forth between the two. If you don't know who I am, I'm Paula McCoy, owner of Colors for Earth. We have fused glass products, and we have brushes, and then we have our ceramic products. And some of those products cross over, and some of the color concentrates and different products can be used on fused glass. So there's some people coming on. Hey, Robin. Hey, Peace, Love, Glass. CJ, thanks for joining. So I have pinned at the top of the comments on both platforms, Facebook and YouTube, the link to the blog. The link is also in the description on YouTube. If you forget it or can't find it in the comments, you can get to it that way. Hey, Miss Britt, you're leaving for Chino. Okay. Or you're in Chino. Okay, and going back to Arizona. All right. Going for the winter or just for a visit? I know you have a place at both. So, anyway, okay. So, before I get started, I would like to remind you that I've posted multiple times. I have some webinars that I had scheduled, Zoom classes. So, live with me, you can take those classes, you get the PDF, which includes the instructions, colored photographs, step by step instructions, the pattern, everything. And then you get the recording later. So I'm going to show you a few of those. We have one this weekend. You have houses in, okay, I thought you did. Hey, Angela. So I'm going to flip my camera down. Okay. So we are going to do this little candy dish tonight. And I did this many, many years ago. So I did another one the other day and I changed it up just a little bit. I added some glitz, lightened up the leaves. So I'll tell you the colors that I'm using if you like this color combination. So I need to slump this into a bowl. I just haven't, I didn't have time to do that. I'm running behind as usual. So, so this weekend, I have my brushes in here. So this Saturday at 2 p.m., I have a class on my bold butterfly. This piece here, I'm using glycerin to do the background, which is completely different than normal. I'll show you another piece of it. That's that one's earthenware. This is earthenware. So if you'd like to join me, you can still sign up. I'll get you the link, get you the PDF so you can get your colors out if you're going to paint with me, or you may go back and paint later. So that's what I'm teaching this Saturday. And all you have to do is go to classes. I can show you later in the video. So that's the one that's this Saturday. And then we have another one coming up on October the 11th, which is the underglaze, how to paint on the underglaze transfers. And here's just a couple of examples. There's one, and this is one. So the underglaze, if you've never used them, transfers are usually black. There is blue, red, and some different line work. So you put the transfer on. It's not a decal. It's a transfer. It's actually ceramic pigment that's silk screened on a rice paper, and then you apply it to your wet wear, and then you come back and after you fire it to bisque, come back and color it. So I'm doing that one on October the 11th. If you'd like to join me, you can still sign up for that one. Hey, Marie, how are you? And then on October 18th is the honeycomb one. I know a lot of you have done it, but I did teach it at the last show, and some people still wanted to do it. So this is just an example of one. You can put these things on any kind of piece, but that is October the 18th for this one. All right, then on November 1st, we're doing the hummingbird. So those of you that are on here that do clay also, this is the earthenware one, the square, and this one is a slab. This is B-Mix over here. The colors are very, very close. You can see there's hardly any color change at all, except for the greens do tend to brown just a little bit more is all. So this class is November the 1st. It's a Zoom class, same thing. You get the pattern, all the detailed instructions, and the recording afterwards. Now, tomorrow night, if you're clay, or maybe you just want to have the pattern to do on something else, I'm on with Live at 5 with Jessica on ClayShare tomorrow on her YouTube channel. Tonight, I will turn on the blog post for this that will have the pattern and instructions you can download, have your pattern on, and get ready to paint with me tomorrow if you'd like. And this again is a slab built piece that uses Jessica's mason jar templates, and that's tomorrow night. It's at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. Eastern time, 4 o'clock Central. Okay, if you're on Central time like me. All right, that's all the business. This is the piece that we're going to do. So on the blog, you have this is a really old one, 2008, guys, a long time ago I did this. So the instructions these days have a lot more in it, and hopefully I've improved. So you get the pattern, you get the supply list, step-by-step instructions, you get photographs on how I did it, and then I'll show you, before firing, and then you've got the after firing on the front page, and then you've got the pattern. I've got the pattern attached with my glass and ready to go. Okay. All right. So just as a reminder, the website, if you're not familiar with it, which I think all of you that are on here are, if you're doing fused glass with me, we have the private Facebook group, which is CFE Glass Color Artist. If you purchased any products that work on glass and want to be a part of that group, ask to join. Make sure you answer the questions. If you don't answer the questions and I don't know you, then I'm not going to admit you. Okay. And then be sure and subscribe, like, and share the YouTube if you would like. Okay. This is just one of our flyers that we put in practically every order, unless you happen to order a couple of times a month or something, and I can remember you've already got it. But it gives you the basic overall products, and then over here you've got some of the other products and general uses of it. And then we have other flyers that we put in there also. Okay. All right, so here is that. So we're going to be using 301 black, 360, which is a key lime, 362, which is laurel green. I may change it up. On this one, I did a blush cabernet and deep cranberry ribbon. I may actually do like vermilion, make it just a red ribbon. We could even put a blue ribbon on it if we wanted. So there's other ways you can go. Basically, you're getting the general instructions. You can change your colors, or maybe you want to do this type of thing on a regular leaf, not a holly leaf. I mean, the same principles work. It's just a different shape. Okay. And then vermilion I used on the berries. And then I did add on this one, which is not on the instructions. I thought it would be fun to, can you see the glitz there? How the shiny, sparkly. So I did add the 603, the gold glitz to it. And I'll show you how I did that. Okay. And then you will need either detailing black, or if you have the color concentrate black, CC 101, as long as the last three numbers. So this is DB for detailing black 101. Okay. And this is CC color concentrate cobalt black 101. 101 and 101 is the same product. Okay. We just happened to do this one with the glass community. And then we decided to open up all the color concentrates, and therefore they're both the same. It's just double dipping. So if you have either one, they're going to do the same thing. Okay. And I use that to go back and add some detail on my piece, like my lines, the little lines on the ribbons, that type of thing. I'm going to turn that light so we can see a little bit better. Okay. All right. I don't see any comments on Facebook, so I don't know. It looks like I'm live, but maybe nobody's out there yet. All right. So what I like to do is I take my pattern out and then I get some tape, roll it over, and I've just stuck the tape underneath my glass. That way I can move my sheet of paper and I don't have to touch my glass, get any oils or anything on it. Taking a chance of something repelling, the product repelling. I personally, white distilled vinegar is what I clean my glass with, and I just use a shop towel to do that. That's what I did earlier, cleaned it. I do have half of this already outlined just to make it a little bit quicker so we're not here forever. Okay. So if you have any questions as I go along, just say so. Okay. So we're going to use the GO331 black outline, and I'm going to come in just a little bit closer here so that you can see. Okay. So it comes with just the normal white cap. Okay. So I took the cap off and I attached a piping cap. Now you can buy the piping kits with the bottle and the cap, but any of my 1 or 2 ounce bottles, this cap fits. So it'll fit this bottle or it'll fit any of the 1 or 2 ounce. It doesn't matter what the product, but you don't need to put it in here when you can just take the cap and put it on here. Okay. It comes with the plunger. It comes with all the tips and everything in there. They're really nice to use for a lot of different things. We also have just a cap kit, accessory kit. That sounds redundant. Where it has 2 caps, the plunger, tips, and the cleaner. It doesn't, in the syringe. It doesn't have a bottle. So if you've already got the bottles and you're just looking for caps, there's different ways to buy it. If you just type in cap in the search bar, you'll find them. Okay. All right, I'm going to look up for any questions real quick. So I've attached that red cap. Make sure it's on. They come with a closure just to keep them free from any air. Okay. And then I'm going to take the black bent tip. See how that's bent at the end? I like this one because this is a liquid. The liquid is going to come out faster. So the smaller the hole, the smaller the line. You start opening it up to the yellow and the pink, and you've got a big wide line. If you like that and that works for you, that's okay. I like to keep mine nice and fine. So you can see there where I've already outlined some of it. Now, I want to address, because and it does say this on the website, but just so that you guys know, even though it says black outline, it says on there it's a gray color, and you can kind of see that it's a gray, not a black. Okay. Now, I went back and I added some of the detailing black or the CC black on top of some of my lines to reinforce and make that darker or more black. So be careful of that. The other thing is you never want to put outline white or black between 2 pieces of glass. So I did all my work on the clear and then I backed it with a piece of white glass. If you cap it, the first firing, you will have bubbles. Now you can take this piece and you can fire it and you can set that to 1380 with a 10-minute hold, and then you can cap it if you want to cap it. But don't do it on the first time, because if you do, you're going to end up with big bubbles. Okay. If you have any questions on that, let me know. I'm going to squeeze to see if it's coming out. Okay. And then I like to lay my tip sideways, and I'm going to come in even closer so that you can see. I'm going to get this out of the way. So I've leaned my tip to the side. Okay. I'm not like this over the top of it, because if you're like this on the top, you're going to scratch off what you're putting on. You need to lay it to the side so that you can actually see what's coming out. Otherwise, you're not going to get a line. Okay. And then I have a damp cloth here that I'm going to keep that tip free of any product. I'm going to get this a little more wet. So does that only apply to this is not piping paste, okay? This is black outline, GO331. Piping paste comes in the bottle or a jar, and you put it in the bottles, and no, you can cap this, okay? But you cannot cap the black outline on the first firing. A lot of people are chatting on Facebook. All the comments are there. Let me refresh the comments. Hold on. Let's see. And I still don't see any. Give me 1 second. Let me pop it out and see if I can see the comments differently. Us on Facebook, so jumped over on YouTube. Oh, okay. All right. I can't see the video and the comments at the same time. All right. I see everybody. And Jeannie, Laura. Okay. Your instructions are always so incredibly good. Well, thank you. I want to make sure you understand the product. Hey, Tom, Mary. Yeah, a lot of you are out there. Diane, Lois, everybody. Okay. It's good to see you guys too. So at the top of the comments, I posted the link to the blog in Facebook, and it's pinned to the top at YouTube where you can download the free pattern. Okay. So if you want to do that, you can use it for anything. You can use it on your ceramics. You've just got a pattern. So black outline cannot be capped on the first firing. Once you fire and set it, like at 1380 with a 10-minute hold, then you can cap it if you choose to do so. Okay, but it is a matte. It says black outline, but it is matte in finish and kind of a gray look. Okay. All right, so I'm going to lay this sideways, and I'm going to set that down, and I'm going to, where was I at? Over here on this one. The other thing that you can do too is take a towel, and this is all dry. Rest your hand on a towel, just because, just like a fingerprint, your wrist and your skin can put a fingerprint, and that can cause product to repel if you've got an oily skin. Okay, and you just don't want that fingerprint, so to speak, on there. So constantly turn your piece as you're working. So I'm laying the tip to the side, and then I just go back and I just kind of blot off any residue or debris, I call it, that's sitting on that tip, because if you do leave it on there, then you're going to get like a blob. Constantly turn. Okay, and I like to start from where it grows from, which would be down here by the berries, and then come out to the tip. Now, when we do the berries, there's something else that you need to pay attention to. Now, my personal preference is the piping paste, because it's a raised outline. You can flood your colors in it. You don't have to worry about going over it. That's just a personal preference, but I wanted to go back over this because we've had some questions lately. So did you see what I did? Let me make sure you can see that. Is I went a half a circle for that berry and another half circle, because if I'd went all the way around, I would have scratched off what I'm putting on. Make sure that all your lines are touching so that you're creating a dam to keep those colors inside of. Otherwise, if you've got a gap in your dam, what happens? You're going to have a leak. Your color is going to flood out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to go this direction. Now, on the pattern, as you can see, there is lines on the holly. I think it would be easier if you're a beginner and you've never done this, or even if you're experienced. Because remember, I wrote this back in 2009, right? Or 2008. Things have changed. I would not do, which I did not on this one. Okay, so I have no center veins or side veins. See that? I'm going to do that on the top. And I didn't even do side veins on this one because you've got the green variegation, the two colors of green, that kind of gives you that illusion. You can put it in there if you want it, but you don't have to. It's on there. It just gives you more of a direction of where your blending strokes should go. Think of it that way. So you've got a lot of different options. Okay. All right, I'm going to refresh Facebook just in case somebody else has got a question. All right, so let's go over to this side where it's dry. So then all you have to do is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So I'm going to turn to the left to take that off. These are stainless steel. You can drop them in your water, come back and clean them later. And I can take this red cap off, and I can put my original cap back on there. which will keep it sealed better. It won't dry out. I'm just going to drop that in my water bowl. And does anybody need to see how those are cleaned? Probably would be a good idea. Let me grab my water basin here. So I just dropped that in there. I've got an old plunger here, and the plunger comes in the kit. So I'm just going to half a turn to put it on there. I'm going to pull up water and I'm going to plunge it out multiple times. And that's going to clean your tip. But if maybe you said, oh, that one's too small and I need a bigger one, and you don't have time, you want to get it going, then you know what? Just drop it in your water. It's not going to rust, and you can come back later and get that. Okay? Just don't throw it down the drain. And I recommend that you definitely put your little closure in something, not just laying around, because it'll disappear on you. So always put it in something that you can find it. Okay. All right. So I need to mix up the rest of these colors. I've got mixed up, but just so that you know how to do it. So vermilion is one of them. Now I used this the other day. You can kind of see that there's like a liquid on the top, and then you've got the color underneath. So it's settled. So the medium, the glass medium that we mix the powders with, has the color is settled to the bottom. The medium comes to the top. I'm going to put some more in here just so you can see how it's mixed. So the enamels, all except for the glitz, this is pre-mixed. It's a liquid. Everything else is a powder. Okay, so I'm just going to take the large end of my tool, which is the squared off end, and put some product in there. And then with the tapered end, I'm going to mix. Now I know I'm going to need some medium, so we mix with the GM 300 glass medium. And those of you that are ceramic people, do not get that confused with gloss medium. It is very confusing. Just remember, all the glass products start with G, and the other products start with other things. Okay, so I mixed it up, cleaned off my tool. I'm going to tilt this because I don't have a lot in here, and I'm going to dip straight in and pull out quickly. If it drips by the count of 2, 3, even 4, you're okay. 2 to 3 is best. So ready? Here we go. In, out. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it dripped by the count of 2. And let me do this. I'm going to do it on the side camera so you can see it over here. So I've tilted it. It's cleaned off. I'm going to dip 1, 2, 3. It dripped by 3. Okay. So that's what we're looking for as far as consistency. Wipe those off so that you don't contaminate if you go in to mix another color. Okay. I'm going to leave that on the side camera so that you can see the application from the side also. Hopefully, if they do dry out, can they be rehydrated? Yes, ma'am. So they can. The only one I would not do would be vermilion. And the other thing that you guys need to be aware of, these plastic jars are great, but plastic is becoming so recycled that if you start scraping the edges, okay, so like the black, can you see the liquid? I think you can see it on the side camera there. There's a liquid sitting on the top. As I start to stir this, if I start scraping the plastic, it could be inserted into my product, and then I've got a problem. It could cause crawling and different things. So if you're going to use it within the next 3 months, I say yes, rehydrate. But after that, I would start over. Okay. And you may even, if you've had your jars for a long time, I started replacing mine about every 6 months. It really depends on how much you use. Glass jars would be better, but glass is expensive and it's heavy for shipping. So I kind of stay away from that. I use it for my designers. We have those little ones. Okay. But think about that. So I'm going to just give my green a quick stir. And I usually just put my lid underneath it so that I know that it's there. Clean off my tool. And I'm going to do the 60 and 62. Okay, so this one, it's you're wanting like a melted ice cream. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that one probably needs a couple of drops. I thought it did. Whoops, sorry, I was off camera. I've got that one in so close. Stir, clean, tilt. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we should be good with that. All right, we're going to do what's called the two-color blend. A lot of times I will set my color in the middle here just so I can have it close and I'm not dripping. The other thing that you need to have handy would be a toothpick, and you may want to have a Q-tip. I like these pointed ones that you can get. I think makeup ones, I think Amazon is where I got them. So have that handy in case you need to do anything. This is the size 2 aught. This is the 455 class brush. Okay. It's just a tack-on little liner. Always wet, and then I'm just going to blot it here. I'm going to grab the key lime, the 60, and I'm going to flood that color. And if you'll watch on that side, and I may end up doing, let me do just the side camera, big screen, so that you can see, make sure you can see that good. So I'm going to flood this. So I'm staying above. I'm not brushing. I'm not brushing at all. I'm letting it drop, pool and puddle, flood and fill, and I'm going just around the edge where the lighter color would be on my holly leaf. Okay, I think you can see that, but let's go back to both because I think you can see different views. I'm going to wipe off the excess of the light green, tip into my darker green. As long as you have 2 shades, that's what you're looking for, okay? A light and a dark. I'm going to flood it in the rest of the area. Normally I would keep my brush straight up so it would flood off, but I'm tilting back just so that you guys can see where I'm applying the color. Move that back. All right, so once I have both colors on there, I'm going to wipe that excess off on my jar, and now I'm going to pull in my center vein. I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm going to start pulling side to side and getting those side veins in. I'm going to wipe off the excess. I want more light green, so I'm going to grab the light green, and every time I touch with that, I've picked up dark green, so I'm touching to the towel to remove some of that. That's a little too much. And so you can come back and just add more veins in, and then I usually make sure that I pull that center one in. Okay, so let's look at that close up so you can see it. Okay, let's see which, hopefully that makes sense. If you want more of the light here, you can just shimmy it back and forth, or you can deliberately make those individual strokes. Okay, so let's do it again. Usually I don't do one side by side. I jump over because this is already, I can see that I went outside my line. So I'm just going to touch here and basically wipe that off that area. I'm going to jump over here and do one so you can see it. So start with your light. 99% of the time I start with the light color. It doesn't matter if it's ceramic or glass. It's just because it's easier to add a little bit of that dark, and it kind of overwhelms. So be cautious with it. Wipe off that excess. Pick up the dark color, and I'm starting down here at the base or the stem where it grows from, and then I'm pulling in and I'm just flooding. I'm just dropping and filling. And you can, if your color does not merge together, okay, if it doesn't come together on here, then it's too thick. Okay, that's one way to know. I'm going to wipe off the excess. I'm going to pull that vein in, wipe on my towel, and then I'm just going to kind of go back and forth, wipe off on my towel, back and forth, wipe off on my towel. And then if I need to clean up my center vein, I can do that. If I need to go back and add light, I can add that back in here. So, I mean, you just got to remember to continuously wipe off your brush, because otherwise you're just moving the color, you're not removing it. Okay. All right. So let's scooch out a little bit now that you've kind of seen that up close. See how that works nicely, just keeping those in the middle. Okay, are you good on the side? Do we need the side camera anymore? I think I'm going to go back to full. Um, Paula, could you add a third color, or would that be, you could. Now, the smaller the area, it's going to be a little more challenging, but absolutely. So you could do light, a medium, and then just the dark in the middle. I've also done it where I've taken and put all the light green and let it almost, it starts to dry around the edge, but when it's still wet, then I've come in and actually, it's almost like drawing with the tip of your brush. You can pull that dark in, deliberate lines. Or maybe I just wanted a center vein. And I did on these two. After it dried, I was like, ooh, I would like a little bit darker center vein and more deliberately, right down the middle. And I'll show you that as we get to the end. Okay, that's a good question. All right, let me refresh Facebook to check. Nope, nothing new. Okay. I don't want to ignore anybody. All right, so we're going to flood. Like I said, normally my brush would be straight up and down so that color could fall off of there. But do you see I've got like a little bead of color, and I'm just letting it touch and kind of moving it. I'm not doing this and moving it, because you're not going to get the same application if you do it that way. You'll have very thin application. It's not going to be solid at all. Can you add gold glitz, or does it not mix well with other colors? What? Yes, you can add glitz, you can add sparkle, either one. 50-50 makes it food safe, because your sparkles have a texture to them because they're a mica base, but they do have glass in them. So you need to mix them 50-50, and you can make almost like your own dichro. And it'll look, if you're adding, say, this gold to it, we could do that on the berries. You know what? We could do that on the ribbon if you guys want to see that. It'll look absolutely gold. So if I wanted gold and red, it will not look red. It'll look like you're putting just gold on, but when it fires, then you'll see the red to it. So maybe we'll try that. Somebody remind me I said that as we get down there, okay? If we have time. I'm trying to pace myself. I'm still not doing well. My back is giving me lots of fits. I was at therapy this morning and I was in tears. So I knew as soon as I scheduled this, something would happen, and naturally it did. So I will stay on and do as much as I can for you guys, but bear with me. I'm just having a lot of issues. I've got to change a lot of things that I'm doing and do it differently. But we're not going to talk about that because I don't want to get upset. You can also take the toothpick and you can use that to create your lines or any kind of, you can even paint with it on your berries. So that's another way you can do it. If you didn't have the right brush, you could do it with the paintbrush. With the toothpick. The only thing with the toothpick is it's wood and your color absorbs to it. So it does, it's a little tricky, but just for small areas, it's great. So continue to flood. And we may not do this whole piece because it'll take a while to do it. And then you have to let it dry. I should have put a couple of leaves in so that you could see. Hopefully a couple of them will be dry time I get around. And if you stick with me, I'll do it for you. Okay. All right. So the other thing I forgot to say at the beginning was we do have, I put sale on all kits, color kits, brush kits, mega savings on like the color concentrate kits. I believe I put them at 20% off. So not the singles, just the kits. So if there's colors in those you like, it might be a time that you want to pick those up. And if you need some brushes, they're anywhere from 10 to 15% off on some of them. You know what? The only one I forgot to put on sale would be the Sumi set. So if you're looking for that one, I'll try to do it after I get off tonight. Um, but like the stencil brush set, the glacier set, um, the dag liners, the trio set. So if you buy sets, not individuals, but the sets, they are on sale. So check those out. If you've been waiting to get those, this is a great time. Get yourself a Christmas gift, or it's on for a week. Okay, so till the 5th, I believe is 5th or 6th, I put on there. So for a week. So grab those. Some of the glass kits are on sale, the big one. We have that, the sampler set is on sale, and I believe I put the artist kit on sale. Oh, artist palette kit also. So if you're wanting to try glass, you might look at those. If you have any questions, you can always email me or send me a Facebook Messenger. Okay, so Britt says, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry for all your pain. Hopefully I'm doing therapy. We started, this may be too much information for everybody, but we started decompression traction on my low back and on my neck. I've got a lot of bulging disc, and I have herniated disc, and I have nerve impingements. In other words, guys, I need to quit doing shows and doing all the stuff I'm doing. So I've got to figure out a solution. So bear with me. I know I haven't painted until I did the last Zoom class a week and a half ago. I have not painted until then since the show in Wisconsin. So we're talking 6-7 weeks. I was trying to be a good girl and do what they told me to do and rest and put ice and heat and all this kind of stuff. And then I had migraines in the middle of it, and was sick for a week with migraines, throwing up. It was not good. So, but if you send me a message, you got a question or an email, I'll be happy to answer anything for you. I think most of you know that I'm usually on it as quick as I can get there, even late at night. Some of you will know. What brush are you using? This is that, the class brush, the two. I think I only have one size up there now. I used to have 3 sizes and nobody was buying the other one. So this is just the 2-aught. It's called the class brush. Or you can type in 455, and it's just called the CFE class brush is how I've got it listed. So I'm pulling up the center veins, and then you can go back and forth, or you can go one direction. Like maybe I wanted to pull green in, but if I pull the light green in, I've picked up the dark green, so I have to wipe that off, okay? But you may want to shimmy it back and forth to start with, and then you can come back in and clean it up. So this is a Taklon brush, meaning it's, let me rinse it and show you again. It's yellow hairs, okay, versus the Kolinsky or Sable, which is like the liner brush. This is natural hair, like our hair on our head, to do the detailing. This one it's like plastic hairs, and so it pushes and I can get it where I want it to go. Okay, so once again, if you want to use the toothpick, you can definitely use that to blend, or you can use the brush. So depending on the size of the area, you may find that maybe the toothpick works easier for you. So see how I'm just constantly turning. Hey, Susan, just jumped in. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you joined. So I've used the black outline to outline with. I put the tip on the bottle and then squeezed out the outline. So if you're just joining, you can go back and watch that. This is on YouTube also. Some of you are over there because, Facebook is deleting videos. So I'm so glad that I started doing both, investigated how I could do both of them at the same time, because now that they're not keeping the videos on there, unless they've changed their mind again, that's the last I heard. At least it'll be on YouTube for you. So I went down the middle, wiped off, And now I'm going to shimmy back and forth for my side veins, and then shimmy back and forth for my side veins. And you can leave it just like that. It's very pretty. But if you say, ooh, I want a little more light green, I just grabbed light green and I can pull it in. Or maybe you want the dark to come out and then go down the middle again. So I'm constantly using that towel to wipe off the excess. So as the product starts to dry, let's zoom in here. Do you see how it's kind of chalky around the edge? And it's chalky right here at the base of that one. Okay, right there. So maybe if I point with the toothpick, this one there. So it's chalky there, chalky around the edge. So it's drying. Okay. So I know that I can safely go next to it after I do this one, and it shouldn't merge together. But that's why I'm doing every other one or working myself around the piece so that I don't have to worry about them running together if I would overload my brush. So what I'd do is if we do the ribbon where we mix the glitz with it, after I fire it, I will post the pictures and I will write on there the color I used and the proportions, but usually 50-50 is a good ratio. Wipe off your excess of your light green, grab your dark green. Okay, so I'm going to wipe off that excess dark green. I'm going to do the center vein, wipe on my towel, and then I'm going to shimmy back and forth to create my side veins, wipe off on the towel, shimmy back and forth as I go up. And then if I want to pull in that center vein again, like I said, you can pull the light green back. Just remember, whichever way you go, you need to wipe that off after each stroke because of the fact it's going to lay down that same color somewhere else. Now I see an area over here that I would like a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to come back. I need to turn it and just kind of fix that just by laying that on top. Okay, make you dizzy because I'm going to turn it around. Okay, so Marie, I'm going to email you a couple of questions. Well, you can ask questions here. Need to sign off. Oh, okay. All right. Yep. Be sure and, yeah, I'll answer you. Just email me, Marie. That's fine. You've got to go. Mary, I've been through, yeah, it's the migraines, I think, were the worst. And that was just, it was not good. I had to call my youngest son for help. Tried driving to the doctor to get something for a migraine and throwing up in the car. I threw up twice that morning and once in the car about 2 miles from the doctor's office. And then I threw up again after I got home. I ate one cracker and still couldn't keep anything down. They gave me a shot for pain and steroids. And the steroids help with the pain, but once those are gone, guess what? That pain comes back. So just trying to do therapy to manage the pain right now. So that's why I haven't been on a lot. I haven't forgotten you. I just been going through a lot of stuff and it's not fun. I don't wish it on anybody. It's hard, especially when you're by yourself, you know. You don't have anyone to help out. I do miss that. You know, when Mr. Burt was here, at least we could take care of each other, and I hate to call my kids and ask for help because they think I'm Wonder Woman and I don't, you know, I should be able to do it all. They found out that week I couldn't do it all. It was not good. But I'm getting better. No more migraines, just some headaches after I did the Zoom class. And probably tonight, I did put a patch on my neck. And I have a TENS unit I can use on my neck too. But just the sitting and looking up at the screen, looking down, it's a lot of pressure on my neck. And that's, you know, with those bulging discs, that creates a problem. So I have to limit myself what I do. And I sat here last night and I did that pumpkin. Did you guys see my pumpkin that I posted on that pie plate? Those of you that do ceramics or anybody. Um, if you'd like to do a Zoom class on that, let me know and I'll set one up. It's kind of cool. Tomorrow night on ClayShare Live, we're doing a pumpkin. It's a different one, but I am going to do that mason jar template with the pumpkins on it. It's a fun little piece. So just back and forth. I'm constantly cleaning my brush and then going back and getting the look that I want. So you can kind of play with it. You've got time. And you saw how I went back on that one. So we got a couple more to do. You've been having a time with it. Yeah, I hope the hair therapy works too, Robin. Right now I'm going once a week, although I think I've been there 7 times this month. So that tells you. Are any of you guys, well, never mind. I'm not going to go there. I was going to ask if anybody, I know a lot of you are nurses or have been nurses. If you are, message me. I have some questions for you on something. Okay, so I'm going to wipe off my brush and go back and forth. So even if you don't do glass, you can still use this pattern on ceramics. If you'd like to download that PDF, you're welcome to go out there and do it. I would just, you could sumi shade, put your light green on the outside, dark green towards the center with the sumi brush. You've seen me do those 2-color blending with ceramics. It would be the same principle. Tomorrow night, we're going to do a little bit different one. Okay, see how that one's real chalky at the base, so it's dry. This is drier, and then you can see when they're wet, they have that glossy look to them. Hey, Marilyn, thanks for joining. Good to see you too. And those of you that are my glass people, they did move the show to a different weekend in April. It's like the 3rd weekend, I think it is. April, I want to say 15, 16, 17. And at this time, I'm going to try to go, but I don't know what's going to happen. If something happens and I can't go, I will have some online lives for you, tutorials, and some really good specials, like some free shipping, something like that. Because if I don't take care of myself, I'm not going to be able to walk at all. And I feel like I'm still young enough that I need to be able to walk a few more years. And I can't do any kind of surgeries because I don't have insurance. So I got to wait till I'm 65 for Medicare. Although I'm not sure that's the best thing either, but if it's still there. So we'll see. All right, we got all of our leaves done. See how easy that was? Isn't that great to put that in the middle? It just keeps you from dripping. If you're way over here and time you get over here, if your product is too thin, then you may have dripped on your piece and made a mess. Now, remember I said I could go back, so I'm going to put some of the dark green on. Even this one is still just a little wet in the middle, and I'm going to tilt this so you can see how it's just right. Look at this one here where my finger is. It's wet just in the middle there. See that? So I could take and start here and literally pull a line and get a better. This one's already dry, but if you wanted to be more pronounced, you can, by all means. This one's still a little damp. So I'm going to go hit a couple of these just so we have the same thing going on. You could even do it with a toothpick if you wanted. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush. So on the ribbon, do we want the ribbon with the glitz in it? Your berries, originally I did them in the vermilion, the red color. This is our non-toxic red, food safe. We do have the other red that has to be vented when you fire. It's a bright, bright red, but it is not food safe. So that would be one you'd have to fire and set it, and then you could cap it. Okay. Hey, Tom. In general, how long does it take to dry? Well, we started painting, I would say, what, 30 minutes ago, and this one is almost dry. You can see where it's really dry. So I have a ceiling fan that's in the room. So, like, when I'm done, I'll just set it over there and let it dry. Better to let it dry overnight. The other thing that you can look at, I don't know if I can do this without making a mess. I'm going to flip it over, Tom, and look at the back, and you'll be able to see how it's dry. You can see some dry, some wet. Okay, so that's, if it still looks wet on the back, then it's not completely dry all the way through. Even though it may be dry on the top, if you put the back of your hand next to it, or if you can turn it over and look at it, if it happens to be transparent glass, you can see that it's not dry. So overnight is the best. So is that yes to the glitz and the ribbon? Is that what we're saying yes to on YouTube? Let's do it. You've seen the other one. So this is a 2-color blend. So this has got 330 blush Cabernet. It's like a mauve color, and deep cranberry. So it's blush Cabernet in the middle and deep cranberry on the ends. And then I just shimmied it back and forth just like I did the leaves. Okay, so let's do a different one. Okay, so I'm gonna use my palette here. You could even take one of like 2 of these leaves, because I was going to show you, even on a piece of jewelry, you could outline the leaves and then flood it in and make a nice holiday necklace if you wanted to do that. Yes, glitz. Okay. Glass Expo, April 15th to the 19th. It's always great to see you, and certainly, yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do my best. I got to be good up until then. So I'm gonna stir that vermilion. I'm gonna put some over here. Remember, we're doing an equal part, so you don't need a whole lot out. And I'm sure that's more than I needed. The glitz you need to shake and stir. If this dries out, just add a little bit of your glass medium to it. Mine was a little bit dry, but you can see, isn't that pretty? So I am going to give it a good stir to make sure everything. So I added some medium to mine last night. All right, so I'm going to add same part. Okay. We're going to call it equal parts. And mix it. And remember what I told you? You're not going to be able to see the red. It's going to look like you're putting just pure gold on there, which would not be bad. It does show a little bit of red. The sparkle, yeah, you're not going to see it. It looks like just the sparkle color, whatever you use. But let me hold this up and you can kind of see it has a red hue to it, but in my light looking at it, it looks pretty gold to me. Okay, so I'm going to use the same brush. I'm just going to make sure that's stirred up well. I'm going to make sure it, is blended well with the hairs of the brush, just because I want to make sure. Wipe that off, and then you would just flood it in solid. That's the easiest. And you could just take just the glitz, just a sparkle, and do a solid. You could use bubble art on the leaves if you wanted like a green bubble art leaf, just for something different. That almost looks orange. It's kind of a reddish orange. It's hard to see it with the light, especially with the glass reflecting. I want to make sure I've got up to my edges. But this is Vermilion Red 310, which is the non-toxic, food safe. And I'm just flooding that color on. So remember what I said, if it's too thick, it will not merge together and fill in the gap. So if you put a bunch down and it doesn't flood together, then you know it's too thick. but you've thinned it, this particular application, you've thinned it with the glitz. So you know it's thin enough. And you can do, you know, you do the 50-50, you could do it less. You could put the red on and come back and put a thin brush, literally a brushed on coat, which we're going to do on the veins. Like I said, the instructions are just basic. I thought I'd show you some other ways because you've got that one you can look at. And I like to show you different ways to do things. Okay. Yeah, it looks orange. That's crazy. When I taught the dancing daisies almost 2 weeks ago, Teresa, one of the glass, Teresa Berger that comes and helps me at the glass show, did it on glass. So anytime I do something on ceramic, you can also remember you can take the prismatic textured sand base and you can basically do the ceramic design on your glass piece. So don't look at it as just being just ceramics. And you can ask those questions because you're in a Zoom class. So I just walked her through, you know, okay, you don't need to do this, you do this. I'm just taking off that little bit. Boy, that does it. I guess it looks gold, but under the light it looks orange also. It's crazy. So can you imagine, like, this Saturday I'm doing the bold butterfly. I want to do this on the prismatic. I think that would be awesome on glass. So if you have any questions on those, definitely, you know, ask me and I'll let you know. Yes, it's viable, you can do it, or no, it wouldn't work. Because that's what Teresa did. She goes, well, can't I do that? And I'm like, absolutely you can. Think outside the box. All right. So what color are we going to do our berries? Should we just do them the glitz by themselves, or do you want them the vermilion that I mixed this with? I think the glitz would be pretty. So on this one I did, actually I put deep cranberry down, then I was like, oh, I think I was supposed to use vermilion, so I put vermilion over the top of it, so a couple of them, and then I put a dot of glitz on it. So if we were going to really jazz it up, we could do the glitz for the berries. There's a little tiny sliver of that one there. Just remember that whatever you use to outline, whether it be paste or the black outline, you just need to make sure all your lines touch. And I see one that's not touching, so I'm going to be very careful here, because you need to build that dam to keep the color inside of. If you don't, then it could leak through it onto another area, and then you're constantly cleaning it up. So even for those really small spots, you can take the toothpick and get in there. So like on this one over here, I noticed it wasn't completely covered, so I just went back. Did you guys know on these little palettes, there's like 2 little nibs? You see those little nibs? If you lay your brush between those, your brush will not roll anywhere, which is kind of cool. Copper glitz. I haven't gotten that one yet. Well, I wouldn't put copper on here because I used the gold in the ribbon, so I would use the gold. But yes, you could do that. Absolutely. Hey, Mary Coral. Glitz for the berries. Do you have to keep stirring the paint to keep the glitz mixed up? You know, I haven't found that it separates, but I'm so used to going to the bottom like we do with our ceramics that I would say yes, as a precaution. I would definitely make sure that you keep that stirred up because you don't want it to separate. All right, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to lift my glass off my pattern a little bit just to make sure that I've got it everywhere, because I'm seeing this is a little light over here and not quite out to the line. So just kind of double check yourself. If you work on a light board, that's awesome. I used to put a light board underneath me all the time, but I've stopped doing that unless I'm on a really large project that I'm working on, but because it used to lay here and then it got scratched and everything, and so I quit doing it. You're welcome, Mary. Okay, so let's go back to the glitz. And of course, you would not try to mix up or stir over your piece, because what will happen? All the crumbs is going to come off. So I'm going to just give this a quick stir. Now, the glitz by itself, absolutely, it settles. And the liquid will come to the top, and then the glitz, the sparklies, will go to the bottom. It even can get hard on the bottom also. So keep that in mind. I'm just going to use out of that lid. I like to do that because I know it's on there. And I'm just going to add a little dollop. So I'm just kind of making a dot and letting it, let me go back to the side camera. So I'm just letting it drip off. So I'm just touching and letting it fall off into that space. Now you can probably see the difference between the red and then this one being pure. I'm going to set that in the middle. I'm going to move this out of my way so I don't spill it. Constantly turn your work, make it easy so you're not trying to reach over, laying your hand down in it, dragging your sleeve through your paint. There's so many reasons why. Just make it easy and comfortable for you. And then I'm going to put the glitz down the middle of the leaves. And if you get this on top of the black outline, that's okay. I'm going to come back and end up touching it up anyway. All right, let's go back to this. Let's get this out of the way. And let me hold that up so you can see. Can you see the shimmer now? You can see the glitz on the berries compared to the other. This looks red on the camera, but it actually looks almost coppery. Red-orange is what it looks like in person. Laura, have you thought of doing water aerobics? I teach water. It has helped me a lot with my students. I'm 84 years old. Oh, I have not, because I don't like water. But I guess if I can touch the bottom, I would do it. But I live out in the country, and to get to anything, it is so far away. I drive 45 minutes to an hour to go to chiropractic therapy because it's a long ways, to find somebody good, So, and oh, I didn't want to put that up. I need it for the center veins. Okay, so now, because I want a nice fine line on the veins of the leaves, I am going to switch, and I'm going to go to that number 2, 3600 number 2 liner, the Kolinsky liner. Okay, I am going to wet it, blot it on a paper towel, and then I will load it over here. But I am going to put this here. I'm going to pop that bubble, maybe. Come on. So that I can drag it off and get a point. And I don't want it on my ferrule on my brush either. Okay. So, nice point. And then I'm going to start from where it grows from. Okay. Let's come in. And I'm going to start at the, where the stem would be. And I'm just going to drag it across that. I don't think you can even see that, can you? Let me zoom in even closer. There you can. Now you can see so get a little bit on your brush, and then let's go around and do all of these coming this way that are dry. So just starting here. And remember, you're putting it on top of dry stuff, so it's going to suck the moisture out of your brush. So you may want it finer, but you may not be able to get it any finer because you got to have enough product on the brush to get the distance that you want. You could even do side veins with this if you want. We could do that. Let's do that on this one. So if I wanted side veins, I could pull those in. Isn't that pretty? I better go back and do this one because I'll forget. I'm sure somebody would remind me. Okay, so I'm just going to walk around, make sure I've got a good point on my brush. So one of the things I see a lot of people do is they don't load all the hairs of the brush. They load just the tip. You're never going to get anywhere doing that. You need to put the product. It's just like shampooing your hair. If you put the shampoo all over your hair, you can wash your hair. But if it's just like rubbing the shampoo across the top, yeah, that isn't going to work. You're not going to get it clean. So think of your brush the same way. You've got to load it up properly so that you can go the distance and apply the product that you need to. All right, so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to go this direction now. I'm going to move this over here because I don't want to make sure it's not on my hands. Um, it's hard because I want to anchor my pinky on something. Well, out here I could anchor here. You could touch a dry area or put your nail down. Just staying up on the tippy toes of that brush. I think you can see that with the close-up. Pretty good. This one's, it's dry enough. There are bridges, like you can make yourself a bridge out of glass. A bridge would be something that would be built up on the ends and across. I don't have mine out. It's where you could anchor and set your arm and do your painting underneath. We used to sell them, but we don't have those anymore. Can you use glitz on the ceramic? So Brit's asking, can you use the glitz on the ceramic? Technically, yes, because it's no different. The glass is not porous. Your ceramic, it would be a third fire, so it would be on top of a fired glaze that's already done. Yes, I just don't think it looks as nice on ceramic, and I really haven't played with it as much. But I'll see if I can, because I was going to do some ceramic ornaments. I'll try to do some of that on there and see. I like the pure gold, like Hobby Colorobia's, which is who I used to work for. They're gold, but it is pricey. It's like $52 for a little tiny 2-gram vial. So this is a great substitution. So I need to work on that. Okay, so even though this one's drier, this one's not as dry. Oops, sorry, I was off camera. You can see that it's dry around the edge, but you can still come in and put these on there because it's dry enough. It's not moving the product underneath. Good questions. Thank you, Jill. I'm glad you like it. So you could, extend this out, make a bigger piece. There's so much you can do with it. Now, I will tell you, Britt, I have taken in on a flat box top. You can look at it if you just search Christmas on the website, or I can do that here in a second and show you. There is a Christmas box that I did at Retreat one year, and I put a matte glaze on it, our matte glaze, and had it fired for them. They came in and they piped with the piping paste. It has to be on a flat surface. And then we filled it with bubble art and we put clear frit on top of it for texture, and it worked. So no reason why something like this wouldn't. Oh, I have an idea of what I want to try. You inspired me to do something. I've got something in mind. I'll let you know, Britt, when I do that. Okay, you could sign your name with this color or you can do it with black. So I'm going to take out some of the detailing black, and if you weren't here in the beginning, CC 101 and DB 101 is the same product. 101 is 101. It's just different labeling in the glass world, ceramic world. So either one is the same product. You can use either. Okay. I am going to stick with my Kolinsky. And I'm going to move my palette over here. See how much I have left. I have like a whole nickel size of that. I'll have to, maybe I'll mush some of that on that jewelry and do something with it. That'll be fun. Okay, we're going to let this set for just a second. You want a sneak peek at something coming? Say, thank you, Lynn. I'm glad you like it. Do you guys want a sneak peek? Let me show you this one again. So if you wanted a burgundy, you could put the ribbon like we did, one solid color, and then you could come back with lines of glitz where I've got the lines with black to show like the gathering lines. You could do that with glitz. I've done that before on things. So, depends on how much sparkly, if you have the product or you don't. Um, I need to put a glitz kit up and put it on sale. I didn't think about that till right now. If you want something like that, I don't think I have a kit for them. Um, all right, who you got to tell me yes or no? Do you want a sneak peek at the next decal coming? Who's been using the decals? Maybe you're looking for something new. You love how it turned out. Good. Yes, Marilyn says yes. Yeah, because Marilyn comes to the glass show. I don't remember. Though this year you didn't get to come, did you? Okay. All right. So let me grab these. I still have some more testing to do, but I think you'll like it. Let me move this all out of the way, and I'm gonna back off. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Look at this. What do you think? This is that ceramic piece, and now you can do it on glass or you can do it on ceramic. So the watercolor background is the background from this. I just happened to find, I had a piece of this glass which went perfectly with the blues, the ceruleans. And here's one this is on a transparent green. Isn't that cool? So they will be available with the watercolor backgrounds in squares, or they will be available with just the butterfly itself. What do you think? Isn't that cool? I just love it. You don't get red, when you get into the red family, it's not as much red as this, but I still love it. It still is great. So if you say I'm not a painter, you're going to be able. So we'll have sheets where you'll have different sizes, and then you can choose. I don't have any big ones done of this yet. Whether you want the background or you don't want the background. Kind of cool, huh? Yeah, wow, Mary. That's what I said. I was like, oh my gosh, holy cow. I'm excited. And look at that for jewelry. Isn't that awesome? You can put one of those double bells on something like that, put that one at an angle, and it would be great, really quick and easy for gifts. And then those of you that do ceramics, you're going to have these available. You would just fire your glaze, put this on, go back to an 012, and you are good to go. But don't forget about the other decals. Like here's some little bits and pieces that I did. I painted the enamels on the back side, and then on the top, let me put the light down here so you can kind of see that a little better. It's like one of those Zentangly things. So anyway, isn't that cool? I gotta lay those there. I just love them. All right, so black. Fun, fun, fun. Love the glass and the decal. Thank you, Janice. All right, so I'm going to get that liner out. This is the 3600 number 2 liner, and I'm going to load that. I've thinned just one corner. I'm pulling through, like make little trees over here. Load that, all the hairs, not just the tip of the brush. You're just trying to get it to a nice point, and I am going to zoom back in so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so if you wanted to, say you went over some of your lines, I could come back and I can just basically re-outline if I want, or just don't do it in one area and not do it in another, because you will see the difference. Okay, so let me hold this up. See how much darker that is? It's blacker. This is more gray. And then you could go down that center vein to reinforce it and still have that shimmer too. When the glitz fires, okay, when the glitz fires, it does have what we call a burn off. So you will, if you say, oh, that's pretty, does it have any texture, and you rub your finger across it, you may see some of it come off on your hand. Okay, that's okay. What needs to absorb absorbs to the color. The rest is just a residue. So don't freak out that you didn't fire it hot enough. You did. That's just something that it does. Okay. I can't do anything on the berries, but I would add a black dot on them. But just come in and just accent some of those lines. It's hard to talk in detail. And I'm just on the very, very, very tippy of the brush. Just on that nice point. So I'm just cleaning up any lines and just reinforcing that outline. Constantly turn your piece. Normally I pull my strokes towards me and I'm working because I don't want to set my hand down in it. Okay, so I can come over here. And if it's dry color, you can use the black right on top of it. Like I'm doing down that center vein. Although I'm picking up some of the glitz, it's not completely dry. So I may have to go back and do some of that later. So that's all you do is just touch that up if you want it blacker. Now, the detailing black does, the outline black has a matte finish. The detailing black has a matte finish. It's not glossy, but you could come back and you could sift over it later with clear powdered frit to get more of a gloss. It really depends on how thick you put it on, how much it glosses or doesn't gloss. So if it's on really thick, like a solid thick line, it's probably going to be a matte finish versus glossy. But if it's thinned down, you usually can't tell the difference. Can you go over the black with the bottle and the tip, or do you recommend the brush? I recommend the brush because you start dragging that tip across this, you're going to scratch it off. And if you're above it and you're trying to drop it, you're going to make a mess. And you're adding a second layer that could roll off of your piece. So that's a great question. So no, I would not. I would do the brush. Now, if you wanted the black outline, you could squirt it out and use it. Absolutely. You could do it that way if you want to just stick, or maybe you didn't have this. So if you needed to touch it up, I would touch it up with a brush, not the bottle itself. Okay. Good question. And I can't go around my berries right now because they're too wet. All right. Any other questions? So if you came in late, I pinned at the top of the comments on both Facebook and YouTube the blog post where you can get the pattern and instructions. It's free, so you can download that. Also, we have a special going on for 1 week only. All kits, brush kits, color kits are on sale. The color concentrates, I believe I marked them. You don't have to have any special code. I just posted about it earlier today. 20% off, which is more than I usually give even Prime members. So I was thinking of all of you guys for the pumpkin thing tomorrow on ClayShare, that you can go and save money. And like I said, you can get those kits of the brush kits. So if you're looking to replace some brushes, or maybe you haven't bought any, the stencil brush set, the ClayShare brush set, the trios, the dag liners, anything that is sold as a kit. The individuals are not on sale. The kits are on sale. So take advantage of that. It's only for a week. I know a lot of you travel. If you need it shipped at a different date, you can still order and just put a note in your order, and I will hold it and ship it, because some of you travel back and forth to different places. Okay, did I get everything? Does anybody see anything that I don't see other than the berries, which I can't do yet? I did not get a line there. Any questions about what I've done? If I were, somebody asked about, can you do it on ceramic? I would use the piping paste, the one that's in the 4-ounce jar. Put that in your piping bottle and pipe that on, because it's going to give you a raised, but it has to be on something flat. if you're going to do, and I can go out to the website and show you the one I've done. It's a Christmas one. We did it at retreat many, many years ago. Give me 1 second. If I don't do this right now, I'll forget where I'm at. I don't think I had this one done. I think I switched and went a different side. Yep, I did. I did not do this guy. Now, you don't have to do this. I'm just kind of picky that way. I'm a perfectionist. Did you guys know that? No, not me. That's my problem. I need to get it. I've gotten over it over the years. I'm not as bad as I used to be. Okay. Not too bad. So you see all the shimmer on it, all the glitzy. Isn't that pretty? Now, when the ribbons dry, I could go in with those lines like I put on here where I've got different, the little gathering lines, I call them, on the black, with the black. I could do that. I can put a little dot on the berries with the black just to kind of make them look like a berry. Okay. All right. Any other questions? The decals, I still need to test some more. I need to get some ceramic samples done. So it'll probably be a couple weeks. I can put them out there as pre-order if you want them. You get the first ones hot off the press, but there'll be one page for each. I am gonna go back to me real quick, and then I'm gonna go to the website and show you that piece. So let me see if it's gonna work. And is it gonna let me do a search? Maybe not. Education. Let's see. Will it let me type? Yes, it will. Okay. I'm going to type in candy. I just had to make my screen bigger so I could see what I was doing. All right. So if you just type in candy, see that little box there? I'll click on it. See that? So this is got our CSP03 matte medium, which is a clear matte glaze. It's only for earthenware, but you could do, if you're cone 5, cone 6, put a matte glaze on your piece, and as long as the lid or whatever surface, it can't be on an upright surface, it has to be just where it's flat. And then what I did was pipe, see that? Pipe it for the outline. I flooded with glass colors, and then I sprinkled either fine frit on the little pink and white, and then I used Slumpy's coarse clear on the holly leaves. So everything has a texture, and then you fire it back to an 015, 016, which is kind of cool. So if you want to do something like that, that pattern is marked down to $8. It gives you basic instructions. Here's the gold sparkle on that ribbon there, and that is on ceramic. So yeah, as long as you've got, I would keep it contained within an area if you were going to do it. They are cute boxes, Robin. They were fun to do. And I don't even remember what year we did this. That was project number 104. So that's probably been at least 10 years. No, longer than that. Probably 15 years ago. So, okay. Anything else you guys want to see on the website? So if you go to, if you just type in kit, if you're looking for kits that might be on sale, you can go in and find, like, here is the clay share kit. Now there's some specialty kits I didn't put on sale, but this was normally $62.90, and I've got it to $50.32. So that gives you a sampling of the color strokes if you want to try any of those. And I can't use the arrow key to go back, so I have to type everything in with this interactive. But go down and find, like, here's the 41 kit. So if you like the colors, you only bought a small kit, and you're like, I want to get, so the 1 ounce kit is marked down, look at that, from 179 to 143. So 20% off. Your 2 ounce kit, you're saving what, almost $50 on it. So that's a nice way to save some money, stock up on your product, and get ready for your Christmas shows that you need to paint some items for. Okay, hopefully that helps you guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being patient with me, and I will be on as often as my body will allow me to. Okay, any last minute questions? I'm going to look at the comments here. Otherwise, I'm going to get off. I've been on what am I, 6:30 or 7:30, so an hour and a half. So I was trying to stick to an hour, but I need to go put some ice on. So if you have any questions, you don't need any special codes. All the brush kits are on sale, and any of the color kits, okay, glass or ceramic. So check those out. There's a few that are not, but most of them, I'd say 75% of them are on sale for 1 week. Okay. All right, guys, thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time. I'm not going to guarantee next week, but unless you want to see the pumpkin plate up close. Do you want to see it up close? I just happened to think about that. I just happen to have it sitting here. Let me grab my pattern out of it. Let me pull this back also. Isn't that the coolest? So it looked kind of like patchworked. And if you don't know, on your ceramic, when you get your surface painted, if you want to see what it really is going to look like, and I usually take my picture after I mist it. So that's similar. They're going to brighten up too, but isn't that cool? It almost looks iridescent back here where those checks are. It's kind of cool looking. This is a combination of color strokes and color concentrates. So you could do any color combination. So if you're interested in a Zoom class on that, I'll probably schedule one if you want to do it. And I may make it cheap, like a $25 class or something. So if you're interested, email me or put a comment in there and tag me on it so that I know you're interested, okay? You need that pattern for the plate. The one for tomorrow nights, which is the, you weren't here in the beginning, Marilyn. Hold on, and I'll go back to this one. So tomorrow night on ClayShare, it's a free video. It's on Jessica's, it'll be on the blog. So tonight I will probably open the link up so that you can print this one out, and you can use this pattern on your glass. So even though this is ceramic, you don't have to do it on ceramic. This is just, you could use this as a wipe off board or just to hang in your kitchen, or you can put it in the bottom of a basket that you're putting rolls in. Warm this up, put it in there, and it would keep your rolls and stuff warm. So all right guys, I'm going to sign off. Yes, the pumpkin plate. Okay. All right. Well, if enough of you ask, I will do it. But don't forget, if you want to do the bold butterfly with me Saturday, you still have time to sign up. I'll send you the PDF and the link for the Zoom. It's at 2 o'clock Central. It's a 3-hour Zoom, and I'd love to have you join me. Okay. All right, guys, take care. Until next time, happy painting.